Thank you, everybody. Welcome, and we're very grateful that you guys have taken your time out to come to the Small Business Symposium, where the theme is community over competition. And we have Kanoelani Davis and Kamaka Diaz as our panelists. Just to kind of give you a brief overview of Let's See, Wai'anae Economic Development Council. Our mission is to increase opportunities for the Wai'anae Coast residents by developing natural, cultural, and human resources. And one of the ways that we do that is business development. Our business curriculum is called Maulipreneur. And then we also have pop-up makekes that we are also doing for some of the vendors on the Wai'anae Coast. Yes, in the chat, if you have any questions or anything, you can always go to our website, thewedc.com. And we definitely want to thank our sponsors for this, the SBA, which allowed a grant called the Spokes and Navigators Grant, and they gave it to Owista, who then gave it to us. So we're grateful for Owista, and the ANA, which is Administration for Native Americans. Those are two grants that have allowed us to be able to offer this to the community. So definitely thank them for that. Okay, so just to kind of set this out there, one of the main goals is networking, right? Learning about other people, learning what other people are doing, getting to know other people, and hopefully just kind of connecting and figuring out how to overcome some of the obstacles that you face as entrepreneurs. We're learning how to foster in a community versus a competition mindset will propel your business further. Hear from our guest speakers with experiences, and after that we're going to break out into two small groups. You can either choose to go into one group of Kamaka or the other group of Kanoelani. Oh, yeah, that's me. I don't know what to say, right? So I'm the project director. My focus is mainly trying to just to find the grants, find the funding, execute on the vision that our president, Joe Lopilio, has. And let's see, 2021, we launched maybe 5 businesses. I'm also a director of another nonprofit that we started. So I have 5 LLCs and a nonprofit that I manage and run. So keep myself pretty busy. All right, Hawaiiverse, Kamaka Diaz. Here, definitely you want to follow him. He's doing amazing things with Hawaiiverse. He has an amazing podcast out there. He's a native Hawaiian from Hilo, grew up speaking Hawaiian and attended Hawaiian immersions, graduated with a BA in communications and a certificate in Spanish, and he left for the Peace Corps. He, Kamaka, what was that? What was that challenge that you did? 50,000?
The race to 50K.
What was that again?
That was me doing a bunch of odd jobs, being out in the community, raising money to pay off $52,000 of student loans in 1 year.
That's crazy, right? So doing odd jobs, any kinds of things, serial entrepreneur, that's a multi-hustler, Kamaka Diaz. So thanks for coming and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, happy to be here.
All right, Homahina Designs, Kanoelani Davis. Kanoelani is owner of Homahina. We've all seen her work. It's amazing. The clothing line is amazing. So basically, she cultural wearable arts company imbued in culture and aloha, uplifting our modern Maoli, the owner and co-podcast host of Mana Bombs podcast. I regret to say I've never heard of it, but I'm going to be looking at it. A health and well-being driven podcast with relatable content to uplift and support peers within the Lahui, the owner of Aloha Always. Oh, I love it. A jewelry and gift e-commerce. Oh my gosh, another serial entrepreneur, Kanoelani. You are already amazing. Non-culturally based business ran with a culturally based mindset. I love it. But that's not all. She's also a kumu and a program development manager for Puni Keola and co-facilitator with ILI, Intercultural Leadership Institute, working with national partners to create an institute that embodies social justice, equity among Indigenous peoples, gender, man. Yeah. So already an honor. Please make sure that you follow her. Man, you got me interested in checking you out. Wai'anae. I mean, awesome, Kanoelani. Okay, let's go. So, okay, I guess we can just start with what does community over competition mean to you? And let's start with Kanoelani. So if you can kind of just run us into this discussion, community over competition, what does that mean for you?
Aloha mai kako, o Kanoelani Davis ko may Molokai nui ahi na meo. Yeah, so just really, I just really like it. Sorry, I'm just like, every time somebody reads my bio or I read the bio, just kind of like how your picture showed up and you're like, oh, like that was my, oh.
Right? It's like, oh, no, just little old me.
And then it's also a realization of a lot of the work that we do as business owners, as well as the things that we do within our community. So, thinking about that question, community over competition, in my mind, it's relationships and connection over, over money at the end of the day. I think I come from a very small island, Molokai. So it's easy to step on toes here. And usually the toes you're stepping on are your family members and people you're going to have to deal with in some way, shape, or form or capacity. So we're very conscious of that. And then on a greater scale of the Wai'anae, like our Wai'anae is far and vast, and yet it is still a small community. If you think about a lot of the work that we do, being very conscious and aware of how we move about everything. So yeah, it's for me, it's the relationships and the connections over money and power, and reprioritizing what that means as an adult, in comparison to how I was raised as a child.
Awesome. Kamaka, you want to chime in?
Yeah, aloha everybody. Mahalo for sharing that. That was awesome. For me, community is everything. I think growing up in a small town of Hilo, just like in Molokai, everybody knows each other. So you can't do each other wrong. You have to always be pono and, treat each other with respect, because, you might not know this person, but you know their auntie, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, everybody knows everybody. And to me, I grew up, I feel like I have a good sense of community and competition because I grew up playing sports. And in sports, that's, you're competitive, you compete with each other. At the end of the day, it has to be a winner and a loser, you can't end in a tie unless, I don't know, soccer, maybe you can end in a tie. Once you get to playoffs, you eventually got to have a winner loser. But for community, I don't see it as competition. I see it as everybody working together for the same goal, especially the Native Hawaiian community. We have to build these connections, and when one of us wins, we all win. That's how I see it. So community is a kako thing, whereas competition, I feel like is more of a self-driven goal.
All right, let me just kind of add into this question. All right, so given that sometimes there's limited resources or a limited base, right? How do you get to where multiple people can win, right? So for example, right, I mean, if we're all chasing after maybe possibly I know in the nonprofit world, we're chasing after grants, right? And we're all trying to compete, and we all have great programs. We're all trying to help the Lahui, multiple people doing the same thing in the Lahui. How is it that you can still maintain community without it feeling competitive, or even overcoming some of the, I guess sometimes you can feel it like, if you go out there and you secure a contract, right? Other people are looking at you like, you get that sense of like, I don't know if you guys ever feel that, but I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like angry eyes. I don't know, jealous mindset, right? Crabs in a bucket type of thing, right? So how do you guys do that when you guys are up against people doing the same thing sometimes? Go ahead, Kanoe.
It's a really great question. I mean, having that experience, that feeling is a real thing. So I also have a nonprofit on top of everything else. So I understand that grant, like going for grants and I mean, although they're they're kind of the same, but they're kind of not. But I utilize this mentality on both in both the LC world as well as the nonprofit world. I remember starting back, I think I started back with just like hats. And selling out of the back of my truck like in 2011. And there was actually, I don't know if you know Kamaka, like the Kai, who is the two cousins. They were a big part of the beginning of how Pomahina started. They shared their secrets, they shared their the machines they used. I mean, everything. They were such beautiful human beings. And I just, I use my designs and whatever and whatnot. So then I came home back to Molokai, brought everything back, and I had to do it on my own. And at that time, like nobody was doing what I was doing. And so it was winning like all the way around. And people would ask me like, so, where are you getting your stuff? What are you doing? And like I said, Pomahina Designs is still run through a cultural mindset. So if I understood that, that doesn't mean, oh, aloha, I give to everybody. It was like, this is my fishing spot. This is where I gather my food to feed my family. This is where I've been taken care of for all these years. I'm not just going to share my, my secret fishing spot to everybody. I earned this place and I want everybody to earn their space too, because that's what makes them experts. As the time had gone by, people started to do it more and more. And honestly, at that time, I was more like, that's how you do it. And then it was like, all right, do you need help? What do you need help with now? So that not that I'm a kupuna, but that kupuna mindset, yeah, like, okay, you leveled up on your own. You understand the successes and the failures of it. Now, let me help you just kind of, and offer that, and knowing that I could be that for somebody without it being a competition, because everybody has their own mana. Everybody has their own essence. And the more of that goes out there and comes around, like it feels good, because you're starting to see another generation of entrepreneurs rise up. And I honestly, and then even in the other worlds, with fashion and everything, everybody started moving, and there was a lot more people who moved a lot quicker than I did in a shorter amount of time. And I'm about it. I don't know. I just have always been a person to just be really happy for others. I don't compare myself to others. I feel good with what I have. I feel solid with what I have, that I don't have to worry about what others are doing. And if they do feel a certain way against me, then, I recognize that's not mine, that's theirs. But I also still gonna support. If I like what they're doing and it looks great, I'm still gonna buy it, and it's not a big deal for me. And I think once we get into this mindset of that that jealousy, boy, it takes over. And so I think just being very disciplined and focused on you and your space and your surrounding helps with your elevation as well as the elevation of others.
Like, so as you're talking, I'm all I can think of is the Duke movie, right? Where he's helping his protege, right? And the protege basically breaks his record, right? And but when you look at that ideology, it's, for me, and this is just my mentality, right? If you're not up against the best, right? If you're not challenged, our people, our ancestors were the best at what they did because we had makahiki, right? We pushed ourselves to levels. We had the competitions, but at the same time, it was, there was the community aspect, knowing that, through the competition within the community, and it's the community overall that was this important, right? Not just the individual accolades, but, competing against the best of the best in order for us to be the best, right? And at the same time, celebrating the victories, right? Celebrating things of that nature.
Yeah,
So.
I wanted to share too, like, that's my the kumu in me, and the kupuna. Nah, I'm not a kupuna, but like that understanding of being around that same kupuna. Every student that comes into my space, whether I'm mentoring, whether it be hula, whether it be in Namea Hawaii, whether it be mentoring small businesses to get strategized next their moves, it's like, your job, you're gonna hate me and then you're gonna love me, but your job is to beat me. And the only reason for that is if you beat me, then I have something to strive for too. And I'm going to beat you.
Yep.
And then you got to come back around and beat me. And it's just this friendly, like, aloha of elevation, not competition. So I don't want to even use the word competition. It's like, how do we keep elevating? Because sometimes there gets to a point where we hit a roof and we're just like, oh.
We're complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, mahalo. Okay, let's open it up to the audience. Are there any questions or thoughts that anybody wants to share from some of the stuff that we just discussed on community over competition? What does that mean to you guys? Feel free to unmute, raise your hand, and let's go from there.
What's up, guys? My name is Hiram Travis. I'm out of Los Angeles and I actually connected with Kanoelani online. And I'm just like I'm just open. I'm a sponge. I'm based here out of Los Angeles. And just kind of, I wanted to understand and see what the concept was of community over competition, because me playing in sports and me being in business, definitely what I do is to help the community, but also, I look at competition in regards to like how that helps drive people in business. So, just kind of hearing you guys explain, right? Like, so Kanoelani was talking about, having that aloha to where, hey, someone levels up. Okay, shoot, she's going to level up. And then, okay, next thing, level up. We don't want to call it competition, right? But then what do we call it? And so, me, I'm just an open sponge. I'm just trying to, to listen, because with, what I'm looking to see how I can better help my community in Hawaii. So a little bit of background about myself is I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, but my dad's born and raised in Kioka. So when you said Hilo, a Kamaka, I'm like, oh man, coincidence, right? My mom's family's from Oahu, and I got some family on Molokai and also Maui. So Hawaiian, through and through, but born here in Los Angeles. So I noticed when I'm working with folks in Hawaii, they're real cruise, like slow motion. And here when I'm in LA, everything is let's go, 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 go. Like, hey man, like time is of the essence. Even like when I have my calls, like the calls, if my call's at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Island time is 5:05, 5:08. And so I'm once again, I'm just like a sponge. I'm just trying to hear like the language and the concept of community over competition, and to see maybe, hey, you know what, how I can better approach my teams out in Wai'anae and in Hawaii, because there comes a certain time to where it's like, dude, let's go. And everybody's like, oh, aloha, aloha, aloha. I'm like, no aloha. Like, dude, this stuff's got to get done. Like, let's go. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm open to dialogue. I mean, I love this. I don't even know any of you guys except for Kanoelani, who I met like 3 times on a DM. And in fact, coincidentally, I actually messaged Kamaka because I like this content. So, and coincidentally you're on the call, but I love networking, and especially anything to empower our community, but also too, I think there's got to be some kind of level of competition, but so I get it. I get, you guys read the book by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yep.
Okay, so habit number 4 is think win-win, right? So I'm all about thinking win-win. But then also too, I think there's got to be a component of competitiveness in there for us to want to grow, or because I'm thinking, right? This is me thinking out loud if I'm in Hawaii, right? If I'm a non-Polynesian, if I'm a non-Hawaiian, I'm going to look to, if I own a store, I'm going to make sure my store dominates you. If I have a product or service, I'm going to make sure that I dominate you. So kind of my mindset, but I know this kind of rambled on, but once again,
cool.
I'm just here to learn, listen, and I appreciate you guys putting this thing together.
All right, mahalo. Thank you very much, Hiram. Kamaka, you want to jump in on that? And then Laureen, I see you, you're on mute, so we'll come to you next. But go ahead, Kamaka. Any thoughts?
Yeah, mahalo for the message. I knew I recognized your name from somewhere, so that's what it was. Yeah, mahalo for the support.
Oh, social media.
I know. Yeah, I remember names a lot. So when I see people's names, I also remember their Instagram handles. It's basically how everybody connects these days. But yeah, I think everything they talked about, I agree. And I guess the only thing I can really add to that is, the wise Kanaka Maoli Drake once said, jealousy is just love and hate at the same time, right? Just kidding, Drake is not a Kanaka Maoli. But that's something that I always think about, because for me, when I look at other people doing really well, to me, I don't get jealous. I know that Lily doesn't come inside of me. I feel like it motivates me, it inspires me, especially when I see other Kanaka doing amazing things, starting a podcast, creating a business. It's the same. We should all have the same enthusiasm we have for other entrepreneurs, other people going into something they're passionate about, as we do for the athletes in Hawaii. Like how much we get behind Max Holloway, Tua, Marcus Mariota. We don't even know them, but we're like, yeah, go. I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan. Oh no, I'm a Raiders fan. Yeah, that's my cousin. Oh no, now I'm an Atlanta Falcon fan. That's how it should be for local businesses, for entrepreneurs. And so that's what my mindset is. So I'm always, and for me, I think the whole competition thing is, you shouldn't really be competing with others. For me, it's always competing with myself. How can I level up? When I had Chad Owens on the podcast, he was just saying, how can we always level up? If you're happy with what you did today, then you're not doing enough. Or if you're happy with what you did yesterday, then you're not doing enough today. So for me, I'm just like, okay, we're starting a business. We're just gonna do as best as we can. We're gonna dominate everybody, like what Hiram was saying, but not even in like I'm gonna be better than you, or you're below me. It's just like, I'm focusing on this. When Michael Phelps is swimming, he doesn't look back at who's behind him, who's in second place, because then you're gonna be in second place if you look back. So for me, it's always just like, I'm competing with myself. I'm looking, staying in my own lane. And by doing that, if I eventually get to the top and I see everybody still trying to climb, then I'm not gonna be like, hey, I'm better than you guys. I'm like, hey, cheers some kokua. Let's all get to the top. Let's all put Ina. Let's all celebrate.
Awesome.
I love that, bro. Yeah, I think it's how we all were raised, just to be humble. So
yeah. Great. When you cook a lot of food, you can't eat it all yourself, right? Everybody gotta eat. Can't wait. Tutu's gonna be mad at you. You gotta share that with everybody.
Awesome. Laureen, I know you had your mic unmuted. I'm not sure if you just remuted it, or did you have a question, Laureen?
No, I'm just listening in and trying to understand everything that's going on. Sorry, I guess the thing unmuted accident.
All right, it's all good.
Still learning, but thank you.
No worries. Okay, let's get into the next question then. All right, how does collaboration help propel your business forward? Feel free, anybody want to take that? Kanoe? Let's go.
Sure.
Anybody want to take that? Kanoe?
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, it's true. How does collaborate? I mean, I think if we decide to conquer everything and know everything and have everything and be everything, we're already losing. Because the more of us as a whole in many buckets is less than anything that we could ever give. And so if there's anything that I learned in starting a business, and really quick understanding of this context and why I did it this way, is I'm a single mother, 4 children, no child support, did everything on my own, still doing things on my own. I had to hold down a fort, protect my children, nurture them. And then I started a business and I was working and going to school. So at that time. And so I also had shame, right? Because I didn't want everybody to know. I didn't know what I was, maybe this is my pride. My ego got me and stubborn. It got me far. But what it did is it gave me the experiences to learn things on my own and be very, very resourceful. So at that time, I did everything, the marketing, the design, the social media. I mean, everything. I'm still kind of a one-man band, but the sewing, yeah. Anyways, so as I've gotten older, and I want to say this to a lot of people that I mentor now, you know, if you can contract, collaborate, or work with another business that could help you and relieve some of that stress, it is absolutely worth it. For what I did, I don't think anybody could handle that. Like the average person may not be able to handle that kind of stress. But if I could do it again, I would do it a little bit, I would work easier. And so the collaborations are important. You know, if you're a clothing designer like myself, you know, looking for people in the community that sew, looking for companies that print, don't do it. You don't have to do it all yourself. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes we just don't want to share our secrets with everybody. So be it. But I mean, that's the chance you take. If you want to get a functioning website, don't do it yourself, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It is not worth it. Find somebody there. And if you can find Kanaka, or and I'm talking to the local people, talking to the Native Hawaiians, if we can find more Kanaka in this space or in Hawaii to do some of that work, you know, that's collaboration. And that's it, that helps take off a little bit of weight off of your shoulders, and so that you can grow your business quicker. So that would be my na'o, and that's kind of like where I'm at now. And I would just suggest that for anybody who's starting a business or wanting to get into business.
Cool. Thank you so much. Like I feel like I want to say something, but I'm gonna let me hear Kamaka's first, and then I'll jump in on that. Go ahead, Kamaka.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, collaboration is key. You know, I always say, I don't, not just me, everybody says this. It's a kako thing, you know, it's all of us included. You know, together we can do so much. I mean, I always like to think of this quote: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I feel like, you know, yeah, if you want to just like do something, get started, you can go, you know, just kind of put your blinders on, do what you can, try to do everything on your own, but you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out real fast, and it's not sustainable. But when you know, ask people for help, and they, you know, you come together as this community, there's so much more that you can do. And when you do it together, it's like, you'd be surprised how fast and far you can go. I think I learned when I was, you know, in the Peace Corps, and especially when I did my student loan thing, is that you can't be afraid to ask for help. I think a lot of times our pride and our ego stops us for just asking for a helping hand. But, you know, I paid off $53,000 of student loans in 1 year. And that's not just because of me. You know, I put in the hard work, but I asked for, how can I help you? How can you help me? You know, there was a collaborative thing. It was a community thing, you know? So for me, working together, especially with Hawaiiverse, you know, collaborating with these businesses, these influencers, whether that be for marketing or just, you know, talking to somebody, asking for advice, that's the only way to the top. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone do something successful at a very high level just on their own. And if it was just on their own, say business-wise, they had support from maybe their family, friends to, you know, watch their kids, you know, take care of something on the side or whatever it is, because it's impossible. I don't want to say impossible. It's very hard to do things on your own. And I don't think we need to do things on our own. There's so much support out there, and just talking to people, meeting people just like this, DMing them, building the connections. That's my word I like to use. You know, when you connect, connections are good, but when you connect as Kanaka, it's way more powerful.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Kamaka. Thank you, Kanoelani. So I guess from what I hear, I mean, there's an acronym that I use all the time in my business development, right? BOD, the BOD approach, right? Build, organize, delegate, duplicate, right? And then so when I hear what you guys are saying, it's, yeah, we're doing our work, we're organizing it, and we're doing everything that we can. And then, you know, for the most part, we want to try to delegate as much as we can, right? Because, you know, the other thing that I use, it's better to own 20% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape, right? And so the idea that there are other owners with you, there are other people collaborating with you, there are other people taking your idea further than you could have even imagined through that collaboration, you know. And I mean, the first thing that comes up is, look, I don't know how many Hawaiian sovereignty groups there are, right? But the idea that, look, this whole discussion probably should play right into their ears, right? It's the lahui over who's going to run the lahui, or who's going to have access to whatever, or whose idea is better, right? I mean, even the idea of the newspapers, right? We had so much newspapers because everybody was saying something, right? And everybody had an opinion. But when it came down to it, you know, when we needed those signatures, every single person, and we're alive because of them, right? They signed that ku'e petition, right? And then it became the lahui, regardless of everything like that. And, you know, I always wonder if, you know, we can continue to maintain that ideology that, you know, we're trying to work, and we don't feel like someone's out there to take our ideas. We don't feel like somebody's out there to undermine our aloha, right? Because aloha is reciprocal. So, okay, is there anybody in the audience that wants to, let's just go ahead, open up into the audience, and any questions, any thoughts? I'm trying to include more people in this thing.
I think what you guys said was spot on. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Sure, bro.
And also too, as we're collaborating, you know, we're building relationships with hopefully other like-minded entrepreneurs. And I'm a big fan of the power of association, you know, so hanging around a good association of people. So yeah, I love you guys' message.
Mahalo, mahalo. Anybody else want to unmute, want to say something? If not, then all right, let's go to, how can someone practice community over competition? Kamaka?
I mean, I think this is simple. Just, you know, you have to take the initiative to reach out to people, to collaborate, and like have discussions like this. It's all about having open dialogue, right? And kind of just like what Hiram said, association, you know, surround yourself with people who are like-minded, you know, who see the value in community over competition. Like what I love about my Hawaiiverse team is when they first brought me on to, you know, be the host, be the face of Hawaiiverse, they told me about it. I'm like, okay, but what is the goal of this? Is it to make money, or is it to help out the community? You know, they said it's never about it wasn't about making money. It was about being pono. It was about giving back to our local businesses, stuff like that. And for me, I was like, okay, I vibe with these people. We're on the same wavelength. We're thinking the same. We have the same goal. And to me, that's how you build your community, is finding people that think like you and just sticking with them. And I think that's at least for me, how I practice my community over competition.
Kamaka, how did you find these people?
They found me.
Like, well, all right. So how is it that these people find you then? You know what I mean? Like, so how do you get to a place where you're finding the right community that elevates you?
I think when you put out something in the universe, in the world, and it's pono, it's you, it's authentic, I think a lot of opportunities will come to you. So when I was doing my race to 50K, I was documenting everything online. I got to show my true self. You know, I was just a local boy with long hair, trying to just go and help people. And, you know, it was like the purest form of aloha, in my opinion. And I think these people saw what I had to offer, and that knew that they could reciprocate it, because you talk about aloha being reciprocated, right? So I think that I was lucky enough where they saw that in me, and then I was able to meet with them and see the same in them. And that's how it came about. So I think as long as you're doing something with aloha, it's pono, it's righteous, good things will come to you. And that's kind of how I've always lived my life. Yeah.
Awesome. Kanoelani, so you know, you were saying like a lot of times that you still kind of are a one-person show in some aspects, But how did you get over that? How did you get over that hurdle as far as mentally, emotionally saying, all right, I have to open up or I have to reach out?
I get to ask that question kind of often.
Oh,
I don't have an answer for that. I mean, honestly, I came out from the beginning, out of the doors on survivor mode. So when you're in survivor mode,
necessity.
You do whatever you gotta do. You just do. There's no excuses. There's nobody gonna get my back. There's nobody gonna take care of me if I fail. Me and my children will be out on the streets. Like, there is zero fear, and it has to be all courage to walk into those spaces. I was just talking to a financial advisor actually yesterday who had asked me that question and kept asking, about debt and about what is financial success and so on and so forth. And I told him, I said, I have zero debt. I own everything that I have. I have 2 children that went to college. That's already paid for. 2 children that are already they're gonna go into college. That'll be paid for. We have savings for the future. And it's like, how did you do it? And that was the question. And I was like, when you recognize, 1, your worth, and 2, the only competition is yourself. And if it, and when I say competition in that state, that's, as I say, I don't like to use the word competition because the context of that is tainted already. It's an illusion. It's just elevating. And in my mind, and that's how I just keep going, because I am the only person, the source. I'm the punavai. I'm the place where my children gotta come. And if I need to shelter them, if I need to take care of them, if something ever happens to them or me, like, things are taken care of. I don't have the options that many other people have. And it's nice to have options. What happens is we become dependent upon it. So when we lose an option, we don't know how to function. So I'm both grateful and just like, tired for the card that I was handed. But then at the same time, I'm like, I can keep going and I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. But in regards to like that part of, how do we do it? How can somebody do it? I want to say is you got to know who you are, period. Like, that is very Kanaka driven. That is very cultural Hupuna driven. If you don't know who you are, go sit in the lo'i for a little while more and go figure that out. Because if you don't know who you are, then let me tell you something. Somebody will know who you are and they will capitalize on you. And that's what Kanaka have been doing for a very long time, because our identity was taken away from us. I will also say, I used to live on the mainland, yeah. So on the continent, I lived in Colorado for a little bit, and I lived in Virginia. I left Molokai, got married, went out there, came home, got divorced, had children, and well, here we are today. And I'm not leaving. So like, I know what it means. I worked at like Wells Fargo and home mortgage. So I did a lot of loans. I worked with a lot of loan officers. I did all realtors. It's a dog eat dog world. So Hiram, when you talked about like, we got to move, time is money, that is a real thing. And they don't care who they step on. And they will also throw a lot of money to get what they need. And you're willing to sell yourself out just so that you could get that money and they can get what they want. And it's just an effect. It's a dog eat dog world. When I came home, I refused to be like that. I refuse. And it's keeping up with the Joneses. And like you said, Kamaka, Hiram, you had mentioned this earlier, is, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with, right? You are your environment, basically. And that is also a kupuna way of thinking. It's like, if your aina is dry and there's no food or water, you might want to think about how much effort you're putting into that aina. Because if you're not putting as much effort in, if you're not looking at it at a greater scale, that might be the reason, is that connection. And there have been many, many offers that have come to my table in regards to like buying out my business, and people willing to pay a lot of money. And when we talk about community over competition, I will never sell myself or my culture to anybody who has no connection to it, just so that they can make money. And it doesn't matter how much money it is. I would prefer to struggle and do it on my own. That's my idea of community over competition. Like, there's no question. And it's because I know who I am. I know what my fears are. I know where my courage is. I know how to bounce back. not to say that I fail 100 million times, but I'm not afraid to get back up. And if you are, and you don't know that, you got to figure that out sooner than later, because this is not a place to just play around in. And that, I think that goes from a very parent mode to a very like business owner mode to a very like executive director, board of directors, nonprofit mode, whatever you're in. Gotta think about that. So that would be my answer, is know who you are and lead with aloha.
Mahalo. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's open it up to the audience. Anybody in the audience wants to share or even give feedback off of some of the great things that both Kamaka and Kanoelani have shared. Feel free to just unmute or raise your hand. Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I have a question for you. You said that the people found you. How did they find you? Through social media, through advertising, through word of mouth? How did they find you?
Yeah, good question. I just wanted to say I love what Kanoelani said. I just wanted to comment on that. And I'll answer the question, but I just wanted to share this real quick. Like when I came back from Peace Corps Madagascar, I was away for a couple of years. So I came back and I connected with the Aina. I went to the Lo'i in Hoko Aina, and instead of therapy, I got therapy, and that really helped me, just really bring me back to my roots and help me move forward and like who I am. So yeah, I really resonated with what you said. But back to the question. Sorry. So when I did my race to 50K, I documented everything on social media. It was on the news, so people started to follow me, and it's all like a ripple effect. I do a job for somebody tells somebody else, that person finds out about me. So I did this wedding. I did a job at a wedding back in Hilo. I was helping just with the setup and taking out trash, whatever they needed. And the CEO of Hawaiiverse, he was at that wedding. So he started following me when I wanted to write a book for my to sell, to raise money for my race to 50K. He reached out saying that he could design the book cover for me for free because he has a design company. So we connected just doing my book cover at first, and then we got stuck in Hilo during the pandemic. We were there for about 3 months. And so he introduced me to his business partner, and they did, and then they told me about Hawaiiverse, and then from there it was just game over. But basically through social media, through being out in the community, literally being out in the community doing stuff, that's how they found me. Yeah. And we're all from Hilo, so it was an easy way to connect from each other. We all have that small town mindset, like right, as Kanoelani said in the beginning, you're not gonna screw somebody over because that's your ohana. Even though I just met them, I know these are Hilo people. These guys live not too far from me. We have, it's like 7 degrees of separation. It's like 2 degrees of separation, on a small island. So, everybody's gonna be pono, and yeah, that's basically how we all connected and how that trust was built really quickly.
Thank you. Kanoelani, how did you grow your business and meet up with people?
I would say social media. Instagram has been a huge asset for Pomahina Designs and a lot of the work. Yeah, I got offered to be in fashion shows in New Zealand, Tahiti, London, Dubai, Ireland, New York, just because of Instagram. So I'm very, Molokai, like we only get one newspaper. That's all I have to say. That's as social as they get. So thank goodness we have internet. It's still spotty, still goes off when the wind blows a certain type of way. But still grateful that we have that, because that helps us reach. And honestly, I wasn't looking for anybody. When I was offered the, for New York Fashion Week back in 2018, I think, I didn't even know what Fashion Week was. I was like, what? And then I had to go look it up. I'm like, oh, let me go check this out. And then from there, just being able to meet people and also being open. Pomahina has opened the doors for me to actually talk about the serious things that are happening in Hawaii. So everywhere I've gone, whether it had been London, New Zealand, Tahiti, Dubai, Ireland. It was always talking about the issues. Don't forget where we come from, and like that open platforms to talk about some really, really deep things that we're working on as Kanaka, especially with our natural resources, tourism, blah, 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 blah. I can go on and on and on and on. But yeah, social media, and I'm an introvert, and also being open to meet people and having to remind myself, just talk, just go say hi. It's okay. You can stay for an extra 5 minutes to talk to this person without making an excuse to leave.
I have the same problem. Thank you. That's awesome.
Awesome. Anybody else have any questions or comments that what they want to share with the group? We got about 10 more minutes, and then we'll do a breakout session.
I know it's kind of piggybacking off their conversation, and like what Cindy was asking. How I found Kamaka was just on his content, and so I noticed a lot of social media. I think if you're posting and providing value, people see that. So when I saw Kamaka, he just came across on my feed, and I was listening to some of his one of his interviews, and I'm like, you know what? I said, man, he's providing value. He was speaking with I think it was Shadow Ones. And so boom, I followed, and then also too with Kanoelani, her apparel came on my feed, and so boom. So like anything that I see that that's providing value, or like as far as collaboration, or also like networking, like social media I think has been valuable, especially since COVID. Because before you used to have like before COVID, you had like a physical business card, which we do. But then when we were locked down for a year, it's like social media was our business card. And if people want to know more about you, they go to your page. And if they saw stuff that didn't fit with their principles of morals and values, then they're like, you know what, I don't want to do business. So social media, yeah, is key for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Mahalo. Anybody else? Any other questions? Oh, so Tristan, all right, how to deal with our community, our Kanaka specifically, away kind things. I can kind of imagine what you're trying to say, Tristan.
Elaborate more.
Hi, guys.
Go ahead, Tristan.
Awesome. My name is Tristan. I'm from Kailua, Oahu, and thank you guys for this. Is really, really cool. Okay, what I'm saying is I own Maoli Farms. We're a small scale urban farm specializing native Hawaiian plants, endemic and endangered. So my question is, it's not often, but it does happen once in a while where I'll get this weird vibe from our own community, and like, hey, why you do that, or why you selling to look, I'm from Kailua, Oahu, home of the Karens and the other kinds. So I only can sell to them. You know what I mean? I'm like outside my yard, just having plants sell. And I get, people just, oh, you got to make sure they're, and I'm like, well, how the hell do I do that? Like, I mean, but I'm not, I don't brush it off. I know who my kupuna are. My family is like world renowned. I don't want to go into that. And I'm always the oddball and black sheep. So like when I'm doing my farm stuff, it's weird that part is there. And like Kanoelani said, if what you know yourself, you can handle and manage, because I know who I am, even though I'm here. But that's just a weird thing. Oh, and okay, that was my question, but I just wanted to comment about the community thing. So we're like a small group of mahi'ai stay-at-home moms, and we were able to move really, really fast. I didn't tell Nainoa yet, but we just came back from Hilo to look at 22 acres. And then we're going to Maui in 3 weeks to look at 14. So we're like really like excited about that. But it was because of all of us moms just hui together. One sells this, one does la'au, one does la'au lapa'au. And because we all just intertwined, we made our own little world. And like that's how we like progress really, really fast. It was kind of weird, but
Congratulations.
deal with our kind things.
All right. So who wants to tackle that first? Go ahead.
Okay. I just was laughing. Congratulations. I mean, it's plenty to be proud of. Enough to be focusing on all those acres of land to not worry about what they think. Let me just express. Everybody gonna complain. I know you've heard this. I'm not gonna tell you. Well, I'm gonna tell you everything you've already heard just to solidify and validate all of it. Now, everybody's gonna have a good complaint. Everybody's gonna say they need. Let me just express. I took all of those things into consideration at the beginning of this because I wanted to be like. So the way Pomahina was built was based off of community input. I had focus groups. It was a whole thing. And I wanted to hear what people wanted, how they wanted, and then I wanted a button here. And can you put like extra padding here? And and I'm like, oh, I can, let me just try. And then when you do it, do they buy it? No. So everybody, if we recognize people just like to talk, and recognize also, we come from a very historical trauma space. Like we never had a voice. We never were valued enough to even be important. So yeah, we will talk for talk. Do we mean it? Probably not, because we're not going to support it. But we know everything. So at the end of the day, just know your own thing, do your own thing. Don't worry about them. And let me express, that's built on you. That's your foundation. That's your pohaku. Like create your boundaries you need to like rise up, because nobody's going to be there. And that one person, two people, that Karen and whoever's like that Leilani that wants to come. Sorry, Leilanis, if there's any Leilanis in this room or listening, anyways, we're just going to keep going.
That's a new word. Okay. All right. I'm learning. Leilanis. Got it.
I've been watching Jolene and her videos. Anyways, what I'm just saying is, yeah, just that part of knowing who you are, you won't let that bother you. You will not. Because you got 22 acres, sis. You got 14 acres, sis. Like, go focus on that. Those other people, just take it. And then,
Go ahead, Kamaka.
Yeah, I just want to say, I love all of that. I was laughing so much just in the last 10 minutes. I don't know what's going on. But one thing that I like to think, and when you say about other people complain, like, why are you selling to these people? Take that mainland money. Take it. Doesn't matter. Take it. Because how many years have they profited off of us? Now our turn to profit off of them. Do what we can to give back to, our own people. But when Kanaka fight with other Kanaka, that we cannot have that. We can't have that. If they're mad at you for succeeding, and well, I don't see how you, selling to outsiders affects them. I mean, I think it's very contextual. But if you're just you're selling clothes, apparel, people living outside of Hawaii are buying things from you, I don't see what the problem is with that. So even with Hawaiiverse, I mean, our goal, because we have an e-commerce store, we want to sell these local products. But if we're selling it to people living in Virginia, Michigan, wherever they are,
take that money.
Take that money, because that's just gonna help our people. They're buying local products, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, that's my mom. Take that mainland money.
and Tristan, I want to add, Tristan, like, people are going to test your Hawaiianness. The community will always test your Hawaiianness, right? And understand, look, there are levels to pono, right? I mean, we are learning and we are growing. We are not experts at whatever it is. And so in our humility, if somebody approaches us and says something, all right, thank you for that knowledge. And once I get to that level of understanding, I can get there, right? But, understanding is like, the mainland version was like, there's negotiation, right? Here's my pono, here's his pono, and then we're going to adjust pono-ness. Like that's negotiation, but that's not really Hawaiian, right? How do you adjust pono-ness? However, like Tristan, this is you, like if your mission is to reinvigorate and regrow the native Hawaiian population, and it doesn't matter who's going to grow it in your mind because you want that to grow, then there's no Kanaka that can take that away from you, understanding that, look, we need this forest, we need those plants. And if Hawaiians are going to plant it and grow it, then whoever is going to be the stewards of that, you should make an effort to it. So, understand that sometimes, you're going to get tested. Why are you selling stuff? You shouldn't be selling stuff, right? And so, just keep that in mind. Okay, I guess let's get to the breakout. So, breakout session. So how do we even do this? Go ahead, Kehao. Can you jump in on this?
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have 2 rooms. You'll be assigned randomly, and Kamaka will be in one and Kanoelani will be in the other. And then there's slides, so you guys know what to talk about.
Okay, all right. So you guys will have random rooms. Okay, so what happens if like 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, they also want to jump into the other room so that they get another 15? Or is it just stay in your room?
I don't know. What do you think, Siobhan?
I will leave it open. Normally people will usually just stay in it because of the conversation. So we'll see what happens. We are gonna, so in a few seconds, I'll go ahead and break out the rooms. And we'll be back in 5:20. What's gonna happen is you're gonna see like a timer on the top. And you're gonna want to click something like leave breakout room to go back to the main room. This is our first time, so just bear with us and mahalo for your patience. Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna do the breakout rooms right now, so it should be assigned shortly. Give me a few seconds. Okay, did you guys get a notification?
Yeah, it asked I wanted to join one of the rooms.
Okay. So Kamaka, looks like you're in room 2. Oh wait, yeah. And Kanoe, you're in room 1.
So at the bottom of the screen, it says breakout rooms. You click that and then you click join.
And Luan, I think Luan, you are, oh wait, you're on room 1, so you should be able to join room 1.
Maybe she's not there.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna go jump in room 2.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
We needed more time.
I was just gonna say, did it end abruptly?
Yes.
Of course. That's what happens when you got amazing speakers. Okay, so welcome everybody back. Hopefully you guys all took away something and it was pretty much engaging. I don't know. So from here, what are we doing? To me, I kind of want to, what was the takeaways from each group? Like, all right, group one, room one. Who was room one? I think that was Kanoelani. What was like, what was the heated topic of discussion or?
No heated topic. We actually we were building our little lahui within the bigger lahui by meeting each other, listening to each other, where each of us were from, what we do, our business, talking about just getting to know one another. I mean, it was nice to build a small community in here and talk about how we can support and network with one another. So there was no heated discussions. Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody else from the group wants to talk and share something, their takeaway, that would be awesome too.
Yeah. Does anybody else, anybody from room number one want to share something that they took away? Hiram, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, no, just piggybacking off what Kanoelani said, just being able to meet everyone, you kind of hear their story, their business, their background, and being able to connect with them after this. I think that'll be cool. And then figure out how we can collab and help each other out. So pretty cool stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Mahalo. Okay, group two, Kamaka.
Yeah, we were super heated. It was just like sounds like you guys were the Republican debate and we were the Democratic debate. We were like, no, you took money. No, you took money. No, you're.
Yeah.
It was very I think it was Tristan that said that she really appreciated the space that you all created for similar like-minded people to share this, especially with a Kanaka focus group, because it makes us feel more comfortable and it's more relatable when we share things. We all can relate to it. So yeah, we just shared about the businesses and then we just asked some questions and yeah, we just showed a great appreciation for this.
Mahalo. Is there anybody from group two that wants to share something that they took away from the group?
And Kamaka said we can fake it till we make it.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Just figure it out as you go. That's just the nice way.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
Just say yes and go get them. Faith it till you make it. Awesome. Okay. Hang on, let me see. Oh, yeah. Mahalo, everybody. So if you guys can you guys please take some time and hit that QR code, fill out that survey. This helps us, for future events, as well as to show like people did show up. We never just spend your money. We want to let the funders know, there were people that actually came out. So can you please fill this out?
Okay, Nina, well, I have to give my spiel. So I throw these for Wetsy. I organize these pop-ups. They're in Nanakuli on Saturdays from 10 to 3. And I'm always looking for more vendors. I just want it to grow and grow and grow. And as we work behind the scenes to help you guys grow your businesses. So I'll put my phone number and email in the chat if anybody's interested, or if you know anybody who'd be interested. Tristan, you can bring your whole crowd of moms. We're going at this point, we're going through August every Saturday, and it's only $25 for a site. So that's like a super good deal. So anyway, I had to give my spiel. I do every time. Thank you,
Cindy. Mahalo. Yeah, I'm definitely grateful for everybody that came out here. One more quick question. What is your nonprofit?
The nonprofit, you can find it on IG too. It's Hoakamana. And so it's for, the well-being of our lahui. And we have 3 houses, Hale Pa'akai, for the preservation of our mo'olelo and data. Every time that we get extracted for data, I fight for the fact that it needs to come back to our communities. And if it doesn't have a place to be held for the time being, it can be held there. Then we have Wai'anae Kanaka, which is a skill set building, and then a cultural workshop space for the Kanaka on the continent to reconnect them to home, so that they never lose sight of their culture, who they are. And then the other part of our house is Pili Aloha. It's for single parents who just need help, whether it be on a state level, medical level, or even just connecting back to culture and knowing who they are, and feeling supported.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, everybody. This is the workshop, and it's a series. Hopefully you guys found some value. Thank you so much, especially Kamaka and Kanoelani. Thank you guys for being here, and we look forward to seeing you guys grow and sharing in your success. Mahalo.
Mahalo, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Mahalo.
Yo.
Thank you again.
Ahuiho.